Since ancient times, the full moon has been associated in people's minds with the howling of wolves. Sometimes this association paints a romantic picture, like some stories that say wolves howl at the moon out of longing to meet it. But most of the time, the image is scary and dark. If a wolf howls at the moon, it's a sign of impending danger. The danger could be a pack of wolves approaching, but in many historical stories and legends, the full moon brings with it one of the creatures that have terrified humans for thousands of years. The nights of the full moon are the nights when werewolves transform. The werewolf, or human wolf according to legends, is a human with the ability to turn into a wolf. The traits of the werewolf and the method of transformation vary across stories and myths. But the most well-known information about werewolves is that they transform from human to wolf on the nights of the full moon. Historians disagree about the origin of werewolves, how they began and when exactly, but it's clear that werewolf stories are among the oldest and most widespread myths in human history, perhaps because wolves are found in most parts of the world. In addition to stories of magic and humans transforming into animals, this has produced one of the creatures that has terrified humans for centuries. In London, there is a document translated from German dating back to the year 1590. The document tells the story of a werewolf named Peter Stump who terrorized the German village of Bedburg for years in the 16th century. The villagers of Bedburg were shocked to find their animals and livestock dead. Day after day, they discovered their cows and goats brutally slaughtered. Their bodies were torn apart, their entrails scattered, and what appeared to be claw and fang marks from wild animals covered them. At that time, it was normal for wild animals to attack livestock occasionally, but these incidents were happening abnormally frequently. And this was only the beginning because the attacks were not limited to animals and livestock. As days passed, children and women began disappearing from their homes. Travelers started vanishing from the roads they used daily. Some disappeared without a trace, while others were found brutally killed. These incidents continued for years. The people of Bedburg began to believe that what was attacking their village was not just wolves. They started to think the village was under attack by a werewolf. One day, 2 men and a woman were walking on a road near Bedburg. As they walked, they heard someone from inside the forest calling for help. The 3 were afraid and hesitated, but one of the men decided to enter the forest to investigate. The man went into the forest, but never returned. After his prolonged absence, the second man decided to enter the forest to search for him, but he also never returned. The woman felt afraid and tried to flee, but something emerged from the forest and attacked her. The people of Bedburg found the bodies of the 2 men with signs of a werewolf attack, while the woman's body was missing. They believed the werewolf had eaten her body after killing her. Terror continued to loom over the village of Bedburg for years. The attacks on the villagers, their children, and their livestock repeated until one day when a group of children were playing in one of the village's fields. While they were playing, the werewolf attacked them, targeting a little girl. The werewolf tried to kill her immediately by attacking her neck. Luckily, the girl was wearing a wide collar around her neck. The werewolf's claws got stuck in the collar, allowing the girl to scream and call for help. The werewolf let go of the girl and fled quickly. The villagers heard her cries and chased the werewolf, and their dogs pursued the werewolf deep into the forest. They used hunting dogs in the chase. According to the story, the chase and search lasted several days until the hunting dogs finally cornered the werewolf, and the villagers at last captured the beast that had terrorized their village for years. The story says that when they caught the werewolf, it transformed into a human at the same moment. The villagers were shocked when they saw him and discovered he was one of them. The werewolf was Peter Stump. Peter Stump was one of the villagers of Bedburg, a wealthy farmer from a well-known family and one of the village's prominent figures. But no matter what Stump's status was in Bedburg society, the matter was settled. From the moment he was caught, Peter Stump no longer had a place among the people of Bedburg. The villagers seized him and took him to the torture and execution square. While he was under torture, Stump confessed to all his crimes. He said he had met the devil when he was 12 years old, and the devil offered him everything he desired in exchange for his soul. But Stump was greedy, and nothing satisfied his greed except a magical belt the devil gave him. According to Stump's words, the belt gave him the power to transform into a wolf when he wore it. Stump would put on the belt, turn into a wolf, and carry out his brutal acts against the people of Bedburg. For decades, he had been killing their animals and eating their flesh raw. He would lure his victims outside the village and slaughter them there, taking pleasure in his actions. Stump admitted that he killed pregnant women and ate their children. Among his confessions was even that he had eaten his own son after killing him himself. After committing his crimes, Stump would remove the magical belt and walk the streets of Bedburg as if he were just another villager. He felt happiness and pride seeing the fear and terror on the villagers' faces, unaware that the monster haunting them lived among them. The villagers sentenced Stump to a brutal and gruesome execution, fitting for his crimes, and as a warning to anyone who might consider doing the same. After finishing his torture and execution, they burned his body to ensure he would never return to life again. In reality, this story raises many questions for historians. The document discussing the story says that the villagers searched for Stump's magical belt, but no one could find it. The story also took place in the 16th century, which, for Europe, was a time of wars and political and religious conflicts. If history has taught us anything, it's that the writer of history is always the victorious party, which, of course, was not Stump. At the end of this story, Peter Stump's confessions about turning into a werewolf were all made under torture. Was Stump really a werewolf who transformed into a wolf and carried out his crimes against the people of Bedburg? Or were these just accusations fabricated and forced upon him for political motives? Pondering these questions makes us wonder, who was the real monster in the end? I would like to hear your thoughts. Share me your ideas in the comments down below and don't forget to subscribe in the channel. Bye.